Young men who get into trouble, generally speaking, and I think this applies to girls too, they don't want any part of the straight American dream.
Well, I mean, there's a crisis for African Americans in many of our schools in terms of the discipline they face and the lack of graduation and the fact that they're 2 years behind whites in terms of the level of education that they're attaining, even though they're in the same grade. It means they think that black students are getting expelled and suspended more than white students are.
Unfairly?
Well, that's the question. That begs the question. Is it because they are creating more of a disciplinary problem than the white students? Or is it just that 5 whites do the same thing 5 blacks do, and the blacks get punished more harshly?
I don't think that's the case, though.
My grandpa lived in outside of Ocala, which is more northern Florida. His neighbors would fly like a Confederate flag. Whenever we came to visit, like 5-year-old me, they would their neighbors would just be shooting in the air, like trying to scare us away and things like that. So that's the kind of racism that I'm most familiar with. So coming to Mount Holyoke, and when people started talking about microaggressions and people, how they didn't like it when people called them a feisty Latina or touch their hair and things like that, at first that didn't resonate to me as racism because of my experience of what racism was.
There's no such thing as a post-racial society, and if there was such a post-racial society, I wouldn't want to live in it. I want to live in a post-racist society to where I'm not marginalized, targeted just because of the color of my skin, but to perpetuate this idea of the fact that there's going to be a society where I need to erase a large part of my identity as a black man to make someone else, the other, feel comfortable is not something that I want to do, nor I want to take part in whatsoever.
You would hear aliens or illegals being used to refer to families who are coming here. And that painted the picture of the undocumented immigrant to the American public. And as a result, it was almost like a fear-mongering tactic I feel that media did. These people are coming, it's a panic. People are just rushing over the border. They're gonna take your jobs. Taxes are gonna go up, right? And as a result, people have a reactionary type of response of we don't want them here, get them out, they need to be deported. We need to have streamlined deportations, just any fast way we can, the fastest way we can to get them out, right?
Racism to me, it's so much. It's not giving a person the opportunity to show who they are. It's systematic oppression. It's also that blatant racism that still goes on. I don't know. It's a lot of different things, and it's something that I'm still redefining. So that's why answering the question, what is racism, is so difficult for me. It's something that I'm still trying to figure out.
Today, most people think that racism is just overt acts of hate, You have to specifically say, I hate this group of people because of who they are, right? When really it's much more complex and nuanced, and there's implicit biases that people have against other people.
Racism is more than just somebody calling you the N-word. It's ingrained in society so much so that it makes it hard for somebody not to discriminate. Less and less students of color are actually getting admitted into the academy, but they're more and more being pushed out. And students of color are not being able to leave with a degree in a 4-year time span. We're not retaining them. They're being pushed out due to a myriad of factors, and it's all being swept under the rug by individuals who have this very respectability politics-esque type of mentality to them in terms of black people don't work hard enough, or students of color don't work hard enough. This is why there's an achievement gap in higher education.
We had the Dear White People movie came out. It was interesting to see the turnout because there were only 2 white students who came. Everyone else was a student of color. I had yet to see an event or any type of activism on this campus where like you had a good variety of students who came. I think in particular white students who were there to talk about these issues, who I think are the ones, they're the ones that need to hear it. Like, I mean, we already, like for students of color, for people of color, like we experience these things all the time. You know, we feel it all the time. And white students don't, white people don't.
The injustice done to black bodies is something that I had seen a lot. And it wasn't even just Mike Brown or just like even Trayvon Martin, or like it wasn't just these people. It was the history of that happening and like the norm that it had become. And Ferguson was just that catalyst.
Freedom, back up, we want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them.
A lone soldier is never gonna win any battles. It's like, if we have all of these people behind us, we can make a change. Going down to Ferguson was not like this clean, like picture perfect, yeah, hurrah, activism type thing. It was definitely a learning experience for all the people who went down from Mount Holyoke, for all the people who were already in Ferguson. It was like seeing like a part of history like unfolding. It was really cool, and like seeing, even just seeing like the tensions in between like the groups that were down there, because there was tension between like generational groups, like civil rights activists and young activists now who are working on the same problems but are going about it in a different way. So we saw the tension in that, and we saw the tension even in like in our own presence there, like outsiders coming to a place that's not really our own, but we're working on the same problems. There's tension. I think it's like out of this tension and out of this friction, that's like where the best learning occurs.
We're all individually affected in some way, shape, or form when those racist hate crimes took place. There were, you know, kill these N-words written on the door, kill these Mexicans written on the door. Mainly, you know, black students live on that floor. And when those attacks, when those, you know, when the graffiti took place, when those hate crimes were written, it not only affected myself, but it affected our floor. But still a sense of fear and discomfort and tension for this person, but being the fact that this person also exists on a floor populated by a majority of black students, that this is going to affect and this is going to permeate within the larger community, or the community that we work so hard to build.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! All right, can I have a 4.5-minute silence, please?
A bunch of students kind of came together, and they were like the nuclear group for people who were planning a lot of what would become like some of the future activism on the campus surrounding the Mike Brown decision, and then Eric Gardner decision after that. That core group kind of dedicated a lot of time to making sure everything got done and that people got information out. So we had a protest and die-ins with your hands in the air for solidarity, and go to meet at like a meeting point, a gathering point, and then you would go to Frist, which is where we are right now. Kind of gave me hope for like future activism on this campus, and seeing that you know, students will come together and stand for a cause that they believe in, as long as I guess as long as the opportunity is presented to them. So as long as we have people like making these events and having these opportunities for discussion, then students will come.
We stand in solidarity with the nation. We stand in solidarity with each other. No justice.
No peace.
No peace. Black lives matter.
There need to be continued conversations about, you know, deconstructing white supremacy, and the fact that the onus sometimes falls on, you know, SBS, social behavioral sciences, Afro-Ams, ethnic studies departments to have these deep conversations. But if these conversations are not being had in computer science, in the STEM fields, then there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
We're not having open conversations with each other about race. some people are having open conversations with other people about race. But it's not yet a community culture. And I don't think it's because Mount Holyoke women are horrible women. It's because we're afraid to get messy, and we're afraid for people to not like us because of our views. If we're not 100% honest with each other, and we don't like bring our whole selves to the table when we talk, then we're not really talking.
If you're here to help me, then you're wasting your time. But if you're here because you know your liberation is bound up with mine, let's work together.
This is my lived experience. I'm telling you it offends me. I'm telling you I'm uncomfortable. Take that as my truth. Listen to me. Be an ally to me.
Come talk to me.
Don't assume that I'm going to be any less successful because of the color of my skin.
I am not your spicy Latina.
Don't teach me to be intelligent and then treat me like I'm stupid.
I'm not here to make your life more diverse.
Reflect on your position because you're on the wrong side of history.
I'm not your exotic Indian.
I am not responsible for your ignorance. It is said that a life unexamined is not worth living. Re-examine yourself.
1, 2, 3, and say it like it really is.